All right, welcome back everybody. This video we're going to cover the SIP interface to begin with, and then we'll get into some making a phone call, kind of checking out the logs, and seeing what's next from there. So let's go ahead and get that done. We've already got our physical interfaces, our network interfaces. We got a couple realms created. So let's go ahead and get this done. So CompT. Guess it would help if I focused over here on my console. There we go. Session router. Let's go into SIP interface. First thing we want to do is do the state enable. All right, and we'll do a realm ID. And we're going to make our realm ID access to begin with. I think we can do a show here. Yeah, there we go. So we're enabled and we're accessed. So we just created that on the fly, right? With the two commands, enabling the state, put us into that specific interface, and then we just gave it a realm ID on that. So let's go ahead and set the SIP ports to our standard 5060. All right, so let's go port. All we need to give it an address as well. And we're going to give that 45 as I explained, you know, in a couple videos or maybe a video back when we laid out the IP addresses for this. So the network interface for this is .40 and the physical interface is S0P0. So the SIP interface is going to be .45. Got our port set, so let's do. Let's make sure we use UDP here. And we're going to allow everybody. We're not going to lock this down at the moment. All right, and we are done there. So I went ahead and showed us our SIP port piece, 192.168.10.45. We're happy there. It's 5060 UDP, and we're going to allow anonymous. We're also going to do done here because the SIP port is a subcontext of the actual SIP interface. Oops. There we go. So I think we can do done here now. Yeah, there we go. Let's scroll up a little bit here. Remember, the CLI more doesn't take into place when you do dones. It's only when you do like show runs and stuff. So let's take a look here. So we have that state enabled. We have our realm for access. We have our addresses in. This is pretty much all we're going to set up now. There's a lot of other settings in here. I think we touch a couple of them a little later on when we get ready to actually do some back-to-back stuff. But this is kind of my procedure when I set it up the first time, so I'm just kind of walking through it again and letting you know how things worked for me and the troubles that I had in there. So let's go ahead and give us another one here. Oops. There we go, and let's do realm, and we're going to make this one core. Address. This one's going to be 55 because our network interface underneath it is .50, and that's on S0P1 is our physical interface. Oops. There we go. And UDP. good there. And we'll do done here. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've created. Let's go back out. We'll do save, activate. I'll open this window up a little bit more here. So let's do a show. We got a whole bunch of options there. SIP-D, and then we're going to do a status. Maybe that's not the command I was looking for. At least we've got some interface. Oh, realms, my bad. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. We don't have any traffic on this, so there we go. So now we have our two realms, our access and our core. And we can take a look at the activity on that both through statistics and just showing what's going on in the realm as well. Because remember, we can have, you know, multiple SIP interfaces in a specific realm, right? So I've only got two. I've got the access and the core in there. We could have more, and then there's also, as I mentioned before, nested realms. So you know, things get very complex when you're doing that. So also, if I make one more change to the SIP config, we can pretty much register and make phone calls. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Here we go. So let's go back into conft, and then where am I at? SIP config, I think. Session router, there we go. Yeah. And we can select it even though there's just the one. And we can do a show. And I'm going to go ahead and quit here because we're only really looking at the first part here as anything that we have to change. And this is where we kind of give kind of our home SIP config, right? It's not an individual interface per se. So we definitely make sure it's enabled. We set our operation type, any type of dialog transparency. We set a home and an egress realm, any NAT mode, and a couple other items in there. So let's go ahead and get that done. Whoops, I just did that one. It's my bad. Home realm ID, we're going to make that our access. Remember, these are case sensitive too, and this really got me before. You'll notice in my notes that I did for my previous config, you notice some of the IPs are different if you've been looking from what we're using here. It was notes that I used as I set up my first one. And they're case sensitive, so I started using capital A's and capital C for access and core to begin with. And then later on, in the evening or early in the morning, I guess, when I was still working on it, I got kind of lazy and I put in a lowercase, and I also did a typo and left out one of the C's in access. And it took me a while to find that, to say the least. In fact, I had to actually send some logs over in my SIP config over to a colleague of mine at work. And he's extremely knowledgeable on these things, and he spotted it right away, and he even told me where my error was at, and I still couldn't see it. So just beware. They're case sensitive, so it'll accept a bad name for a realm ID or something like that, and I won't let you know that that's not even available if you type it in like that. So that's why I always like to use the tab key, so it shows you what my options are. And then if you're using PuTTY, you can just double-click that word, right, and then right-click, and it'll, kind of copy-paste for you. So that'll save some typos for you. So we got our home realm ID. Let's do our egress, and we're going to make that core. So this time I'm using all lowercase, so I don't have to think about it, right? And we'll do our NAT mode, which is, if I press tab there, you can see it's public, and I'll just double-click, right-click, boom, done. So it makes it really nice. And then we'll set our register. What's it domain? There we go. Whoop. Oh, registrar. Sorry. There we go. And we'll use star for that. Star means everything, right? So we're not going to say that, we're only going to allow, a specific registrar for our SIP config in here. We're just going to let it be wide open for now. So again, this might not be, truly real world. I'm just trying not to lock things down too much where I have to spend literally days troubleshooting why I can't register a phone, or, RTP doesn't go through or something like that. So let's go star, and then we'll do the host, meaning any domain from any host. And here we go. I think that's going to do it for us. So let's go show, and I'll do a quit here. So we've got enable dialog. Dialog transparency is enabled. We have our home realm is access. Egress realm is core. NAT mode is public. 2 stars, right? 50/60. That looks pretty good so far. Okay, let me go ahead and I'll pause this, and I'll bring up a soft phone, probably X-Lite or something like that, and we'll turn on we'll turn on some debug, and we'll take a look and see if we register, and kind of what it looks like. We'll take a look at the SIP log and seeing if it's doing what we wanted it to do. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back to make some calls. Something that I didn't do in just this previous section here was I didn't do a done and then exit back out and then save my config and then activate my config. That was a bad mistake because I tried to register phones and whatnot and it wouldn't work, and then so I went back over to the SBC and I'm like, yeah, didn't back out. So again, every time you make a change and you want to do any testing, you got to make sure you save your config as you back out of the context, and then when you get to the root hash prompt, you got to do a save and then an activate. And you can see here when I did that activate config, it told me there could be an interruption of service, right? Because I'm actually changing some pretty key pieces in here, and I'm changing my SIP config home realm ID and egress realm ID in there. So, of course, I went ahead and said yes, and then it finished activating, and I went in and registered a phone. So we know that works. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get over to the console of my PBX. I have that here, and again, that's virtualized on my ESXi server. So, and that's got a 190 address, is what I made that. Let's go ahead and get logged in here. There we go. Let's go ahead and start asterisk in the console. Let me do a set. It's not really a core. It's not an asterisk class here. Core set. I think it's verbose. Yeah, 0. So we don't get a bunch of messages coming off to us here. And let's do SIP show. Whoops. So I have a couple in here. Let me open this up so we can look at it here. So I have a couple accounts in asterisk already, right? Extension 100 and 200, right? Pretty simple, real simple passwords just to get me in and get tested on it. So let's go ahead and open up our logs here. So let's go. God, I can't remember how to do it now. SIP show debug. No. Oh my God. I drew a blank. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a brain fart. So the command is, what is it? SIP. Let me get back over here. Here we go. So SIP, and then set debug is on. There we go. And let's go back over to our SBC. 40. And we're going to turn a SIP logging on over here. It's notify SIPD. Tell me I had another one over here, right? Yeah, SIPD. There we go. And then we want SIP log is the right one. It doesn't have it up there, but that's definitely what it is. There we go. That's complete. And then let's go ahead and tail that file. Tail, and then we have open and close. We want to open the file. And our task name is SIPD. And then the file name is, we're just going to make it SIP msg.log. Okay, so now we should be able to see some stuff coming in, both to the asterisk, because we have SIP to bug enabled on that, and we're also tailing a SIP log on the SBC. So let's open up, we'll just use the old XLite here. I don't have this registering, so let's go into options. And because I have my domain and my proxy address under something that is invalid here. So my domain is going to be the IP of my PBX, so 192.68.10.190, and then the proxy is going to be obviously the access SIP interface that we used on the SBC. So 192.168.10.45, is that what we made it? I think so. So let's go ahead and say apply. Okay. Look at that. So there's our access SBC. You can see some code up in here, right? Registering. Let's go ahead and turn that off real quick here. Whoops. And that is going to be close. And then we'll turn this on to no SIP log. There we go. And let's bounce back over to our asterisk box, and you can see it registered there as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Turn that off too. Okay. So if we take a look here, you can see here that it's coming in off the 10.55, right? So the 10.55 was our core interface on there. So it's kind of nice. It's already, you know, doing a little bit of back-to-back stuff on here for us, and it's registering to 190 down here, right? With no NAT. So we can come up here and look at that. It's really simple on the asterisk box. You have a really small log, but on the SBC, this same transaction, this same registration is, you know, over double long because it's bouncing back between the two interfaces, right? So we can see it's registering. It's coming from .55. It's going to register to 190. Here's my contact. I'm at .5, which is my PC workstation with the soft phone on it. And then it's to and from, of course, the same, the registration. Of course, it gives us a 401 unauthorized, so it's going to go back and resend it with the actual password in it now. Pretty simplistic. Gives it back the OK. We're pretty good there. So let's go back over to, here we go, .40. So you come up here and you can see it's quite a bit longer of a log, right? And again, we're just, you know, it's basically saying the same thing. This is coming in on the 45, right, and it received from my workstation, right? So it receives the actual request for the register. Then it turns around and it tells you that on 55, it sent it out to 190, right? So then the core interface, .55, sends it out to my asterisk PBX. You know, and it's kind of bounced back and forth like that, right? So again, I get the unauthorized. It resends it again on 45. It sends it back out to 5. It needs to re-register again. It comes back in. We have the whole flow there. So I just kind of wanted to give you these IP addresses on this so you can see how it is using them, right? And then in the reply back from 45, right? So up here we have 55 sends it in, gives us an OK, and then the 45 sends it back to my workstation, which is .5. So wanted to show you that, and then I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and we come back. We'll get into a couple other configs. We'll do a session agent, and then we'll kind of, make a policy in there to make sure things get steered around correctly. Traffic, when the phones come in and register, depending on what realm. There's a lot of other options in there. I'm not going to set them all up, but we can kind of look at them real quick. And we'll tie this thing up, and we're just about done here. Right now we have a functioning session border controller that's able to make calls. Let's go ahead and make a call then. So I'm registered as 100, so if I call 100, you'll see this light right here will light up. So let's go OK. There, it's ringing, so I can answer it. It's my line 2. I have a call established. So not too bad. I can also call 200. There's no phone registered to it, so I'm just going to get in my dial plan on the inside. I have it where it just plays the goodbye message and then hangs up on me. So let me dial that. Call established, and then it hung up. It said goodbye and then hung up. I heard it through my headset there. So, we have true basic setup of the SBC and ready to make calls on the access interface and the core interface. So again, I come back, we'll go a little bit deeper. Thanks.